No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve Postgame Show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good morning, Winnipeg. Good morning, Manitoba. For all those joining us this morning live on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good morning, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Along with Dave Manouk, along with Ezra Ginsburg, I am your host, Drew Mandel, here on this Wednesday morning to talk about the Winnipeg Jets' come-from-behind victory. 4-3. They go into San Jose. They squeak out the victory. It's a the rare come-from-behind victory, guys, where they at the same time also gave up the lead on two separate occasions. But it just shows the Jets never give die attitude in coming back after trailing 3-2 late in this game to tie it up and then take the victory by the 4-3 margin. You know, San Jose is a far different San Jose team than we saw earlier this year in Winnipeg. We saw them play earlier this year. I think it was back in October, if I'm not mistaken, Dave. You'll remember. It was like
it was October.
Yeah, where the Jets went in there and they destroyed San Jose by an 8-3 margin. A completely different team, if you remember back on October 18th when they played. No Macklin Celebrini, no Will Smith, different goaltender in the lineup. The Winnipeg Jets faced a different team. And San Jose, as much as it's a good victory for the Winnipeg Jets, and it is, San Jose also impressed me in the course of tonight's game, Ezzy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you, Drew. Like, the Jets really did squeak that win out tonight.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they left it till the last couple minutes of the game. And obviously a beauty tip by Adam Lowry, which we'll get into more in the Play Now game recap. But I mean, again, guys, special teams comes through big, right? A couple power play goals for the Jets. They kill that penalty that Nito Niederreiter took, the illegal check to the head. Ruth Niederreiter is not going to be happy with his son Nino taking that penalty. It almost cost the Jets the game. And obviously, guys, you know, like it looked like that 3-2 goal by Fabian Zetterlund might be the killer, where the Jets, got caught. Neil Pionk got caught pinching, and then no one covered for him. But like Drew said, they had a 1-0 lead, a 2-1 lead, and then they were down 3-2, and then they kept fighting. So you love to see that, right, boys? Because, like I said, it wasn't looking too good with the Sharks going up 3-2 in the third period. But, they got it done. They got the 2 points.
Yeah.
Obviously, that would have been extremely disappointing if they weren't able to get at least a point against the Sharks. I agree with what you said, too, Drew. I mean, like, obviously, Celebrini makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But there have been other moves too, right? They brought in obviously Kovalenko and Gorgiev.
Yeah.
Gorgiev, obviously, I wouldn't say he had a great night. I wouldn't say he had a terrible night.
He made some nice saves, but you're right. He was hit or miss, which is really the reputation that he has as a goaltender. But of all the sort of bad teams that we've seen the Jets play so far this year, and we're going to see another bad team tomorrow against in the Anaheim Ducks when the Jets and the Ducks do battle tomorrow night.
Even worse team.
Yeah, far worse. San Jose, to me, is the best of the bottom feeding teams that the Jets have played so far this year. There's a lot of talent on that team. I mean, Celebrini, you mentioned Zetterlund, Will Smith,
Eklund.
Eklund, yeah.
E5, Eklund.
Throw Tyler Toffoli in there as well.
Only against the Jets, has he? Only against the Jets.
Yeah, but what does he have? 11, 12 goals? Like, he's having a decent year.
Yeah, he's a player.
Well, hey, when you leave him wide open in front of the net, it's easy to get a lot of goals, I would say. But no, I mean, the Sharks are definitely a different team, like you said, Drew, than the one the Jets defeated 8-3 in October.
Yeah,
and I'm not suggesting the Jets took their opponent lightly tonight or anything, but Jets weren't. I mean, this was not a rosy win, as we tweeted to end the game. A win is a win, and you put the 2 points in the standings bank. But there were long stretches where the Jets were asleep at the wheel, especially to start periods. Right, 7-0 shots in favor of San Jose, and you could talk about the quality of the shots if you will, but you don't have possession of the puck. It's not ideal. And so San Jose outshoots them. I mean, it was 7-2 to start the game.
Yeah.
And then the Jets went on a bit of a flurry, and then it was 7-0 to start the second period. And then the Jets, again, like I said, got a little bit back into it. And even in the third period, I think it was like 3-0 for San Jose to start that third period. So the Jets' starts in this game weren't ideal. And there were definitely some brain farts, I would suggest, in front of the net, which we'll get into during the recap. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the Jets are the better of the two teams. And like I said, like as he said, and it's worth mentioning, the special teams continues to be very good. And then the power play, the Jets are back in first place. After the last game, they were back in first place as the best power play unit in the NHL. And their PK, though, continues to be a little bit of an area of concern. They're down to 21st, I think. So they had a little bit of a slippage, and of course gave up another power play goal this game.
Yeah,
but it came up big right when it mattered most. And I know,
agree.
Dave, they still allow a goal, so you don't like that, right? Like ideally you'd like to go a perfect. What did they go 4 for 4 last game?
Yes,
yeah.
But they got the kill when it mattered most, when Niederreiter took that illegal check to the head penalty, right? And for me, the story is the power play, and the story was how good the Scheifele Connor Velarde line played. Not just I thought they were good at 5-on-5. Remember, Scheifele had that amazing chance right in the slot, in the third period. Velarde, I thought, was excellent, right? He had the hat trick of assists, as Dave M pointed out on X. So sometimes, Drew said this before on the show, I think. He said sometimes good is enough, right? Good enough. Sorry, I screwed that up. But that was really the case tonight, right? Like, you score a couple power play goals, you take advantage of those opportunities. And obviously,
your team, I mean, again, I from the Jets' perspective, they didn't play that well. They got better as the periods went on, to your point, Dave. But to me, the Jets winning this game in regulation is just a function of them knowing how to pull out victories when you least suspect it. And San Jose, being a young team, is trying to figure out how to close games out. That's what they don't know how to do. That's what comes with experience. That's what comes with some time, being with the lead. It takes time to sort of get that killer instinct, whereas the Jets have it over all these years. We don't know what's going to happen come playoff time, and obviously that's really where it matters the most. But when it comes to regulation victories, the Jets are one of the best teams in the regular season, and they know how to find wins where it doesn't seem like a win is going to be plausible for the Jets. And I think you saw that particularly in the late in the third period. Look, anytime you can score 2 goals in the back half of the third period to tie and then win the game, you're doing something right. And that to me is just the Jets' experience. It's their know-how. And I thought that their size and sort of strength became a more significant factor as the periods went on and as the games went on. They started to lean a little bit on the on the Sharks. The Jets have old man strength as compared to the youthful San Jose.
Just like
Sharks.
you, Drew.
Yeah, me. That's just from eating too much is what that's from. But I just thought that was sort of the Jets, their calm and cool commitment to winning to playing the game that they needed to play. They made some mistakes. We'll get into those mistakes certainly, but I was impressed with the Jets' refusal to sort of compound their errors or anything.
Yeah, exactly. And not that after Zetterlund scored, you're expecting the Jets to lay down, because as you guys know, as everyone who's watched the Jets this season knows, the third period, they're one of the best, if not the best third period team in the league, right? I haven't checked it recently, but they've got a great goal differential in the third period. So you're right, Drew. And that goes back to kind of that idea of what we were talking about earlier. 5-on-5, the first couple periods, the Jets weren't great, but a couple power play goals, like that is the difference in this game as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, the Jets were down 3-2, but for me, that's been really the story of much of the first 33 games of the year, is that the power play always comes up big. And I mentioned this earlier, Kyle Connor, I mean, it looked like he was going to score a hat trick. I agree, obviously, as well with the comment that we had up earlier. I thought Nino Niederreiter had quietly a really good game, minus the penalty. But I thought that line, I thought Mason Appleton, Lowry, and Niederreiter just kind of quietly, like you said, Drew, it's a big line. Once once they get it working down low, you heard Kevin Sawyer talk about it. We've talked about it a lot this year on the post-game shows, right? They do their work. They do the cycle game. They can go to the net. They can tip pucks. Obviously, that's what happened on the game-winning goal.
Sorry, as to your point, I'll tell you exactly where I thought the tide in that third period changed is when Nino Niederreiter had that strong net drive on Macklin Celebrini. I mean, Celebrini was back, playing in a defensive role, being defensively responsible. And I think you saw Niederreiter say two things. One, I have a forward playing defense, so that's usually a go opportunity. And two, Macklin Celebrini, for all the talent that he has, and he's got a tremendous amount of talent, Nino Niederreiter is bigger and stronger than he is. So he wants
huge mismatch there.
Yeah, he dropped the shoulder and he had that real strong net drive there. And I think that was sort of the trigger to get the Jets a little bit back with getting their groove back on in the third period tonight.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. We got the comment up from Eric K here. And that's right. I mean, the Jets, for the most part, that was an issue last year, right, boys? Especially in the latter half of the season, was you were starting to lose to some bad teams. And these are the types of games, obviously, guys, the Jets are well ahead of most teams in the NHL. I mean, with the exception of maybe Minnesota and Washington and a few others, but they have a good cushion there in the Western Conference, the Central Division. But, this is the type of game where you just you know that it would have bugged the players, the coaching staff, the entire team if they would have left points on the board here. Because the Sharks, even though they're a better team than they were, like we talked about in October, there was no Macklin Celebrini, there was no Will Smith. These are the types of games you got to win. You just have to. If you're a team that has legitimate Stanley Cup aspirations, which the Jets obviously do, these are the types of games that you just have to win. There's just way more talent on one side of the ice than the other. Even if you've got Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith and William Eklund. And I thought Scheifele and Connor Velarde again. I mean, we'll get into the goals, like I said earlier in the game recap, but I just thought that line was excellent tonight. Connor came very close to getting a hat trick, and I just loved Velarde's game. I just thought it wasn't his loudest game, but I just thought he was playing really well, and basically getting Connor the puck tonight because he obviously had the hot hand.
Yeah, to the Jets' top line, Dave, I thought was really good in tonight's game. I mean, especially again once they found it. It took them that first. You mentioned it, earlier on as we're in the preamble portion of the post game show, the Illegal Curve post game show presented by Play Now. It took the Jets, slow start to that first period, slow start to that second period. So it took the Jets a little bit of time to get going, but once they did, Scheifele, Connor, and Velarde were absolutely unstoppable, Dave. They were able to do really what they wanted. They had the puck on the string, and San Jose sort of showed their youth and their inexperience and their inability to handle that kind of continuous pressure, I would suggest.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I thought that they were relentless and they created a lot of chances and there were a lot of opportunity. They didn't really give up opportunities like we saw in some of the other games, right? Guys, like the extra pass that Scott Arniel was lamenting. I thought Joe from Winnipeg's point, which I put up on the chat a little bit earlier, or from the chat, I should say, a little bit earlier, was an accurate one. I think the Jets stuck to the game plan that they had. Again, for the most part, I don't think that it was, like I said, I don't think they anticipated being outshot 7-0 to start the second period. But again, it's the quality of the shots. The shots weren't giving up grade A shots from the slot. They were
the San Jose shots.
Yeah, the San Jose shots. I'm saying that the Jets weren't exactly. It wasn't like they were being torched from inside and that sort of thing. Like they weren't. I think high danger chances still favored Winnipeg overall. I could be wrong, but I think that they did favor the Jets. But ultimately, I just thought
they did 9-6 at 5-on-5 over the course of the 60 minutes.
Yeah. So I mean,
I think what you're saying though, Dave, is at that point in the game, right? And that to me is the biggest concern. And I've said this on the Saturday show, and I'll say it again here. The biggest issue for me is these big chunks of games, guys, where the offense kind of dries up and the Jets don't generate a lot of shots. That to me is still my biggest concern about the way they're playing right now. Does that have a lot to do with Nick Ehlers being out of the lineup? Of course it does. Nick Ehlers is arguably their most dynamic player. Apologies to Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele. Part of that has to do with Dylan Sandberg being out of the lineup. And sometimes the Jets look like, they're having trouble moving the puck. They're certainly spending more time in their zone. Hayden Fleury, I thought he had a bit of a rough night tonight, despite the Jets winning, right, Dave? So that to me is like, the shots can be misleading. Like 7-0. that can tell you,
Yeah, I know what you
a
mean.
couple things, but that to me is still, an issue. I realize the Jets scored 4 goals tonight, but half of the goals were on the power play, right? So like, I still, to me, if you want to go back to the first 15 or 16 games, which obviously seems to be, what we keep referring to, because the Jets had that 15-1 start, right, boys? Anyways, Drew, I don't want to go, too deep into it, but that to me was a concern in this game, that the offense kind of, it went a little bit invisible there for a good chunk of kind of like the early part of the second period and the early part of the third period. It wasn't like the first couple minutes, boys. It was like, the first kind of 5 to 8 minutes of those last 2 periods where the Jets offense was a little bit sleepy, with the exception of the Scheifele line.
The one thing I'll say, and then we can get into the game recap, Drew, but to reaffirm what Ezzy was saying, because that was the point I was thinking about, was just the Jets are managing to still, again, impose their will on teams like San Jose, which is a good thing, but they're also doing it without Ehlers and Sandberg. And those you can't underscore. And again, it goes to that idea of what kind of contract is Dylan Sandberg gonna get when he signs as an RFA this summer. And I know, of course, we'll talk about that on like a Saturday show.
Sign him to 8 years, Dave. 8 years.
Well, we'll see. But I'm just saying that
if I was the GM, I would give him 8 years, no problem.
Chevy, if you're listening,
give him 8 years.
Let Dave finish his thought, Hyperboy. Let Dave finish his thought.
All I was going to say is that it is evident, though, as we've been talking about for the last little while, that you are missing something without Dylan Sandberg in this lineup, especially for Neil Pionk. Neil Pionk is so much better with Dylan Sandberg as his D pairing, with all due respect to Hayden Fleury, than when he doesn't have Dylan Sandberg. And I know that's not a supremely insightful comment, but I just think it's very evident.
It is.
Yeah. And I mean, I just think it's evident that when you're watching that Sandberg steadies Pionk so significantly, and he steadies his lineup, like I said, on the penalty kill significantly. So, I mean, you just see the absence of Dylan Sandberg, and we know, as per Scott O'Neill, that won't be till the new year when he's back. And of course, with Nikolai Ehlers I believe he's in a regular uniform.
He was in a regular uniform
yesterday.
Today,
was it today or yes? No, today was an optional.
Right.
It was yesterday
when they practiced. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nikolai Ehlers, again, close, but we'll see. So, I mean, like I said, maybe he plays tomorrow.
Yeah, I would.
Maybe he plays tomorrow. The interesting thing I have to say, and I know we want to talk about the game, but when Nikita Chibrikov blocks that shot, I will tell you, as someone who watched all of his AHL games, if the Jets if that would have been like a penalty and there was a power play, he would have been up and on the power play, no question, within a minute and a half. But but I will say that
point, though, they don't have an extra forward on.
That's what I was going to say. There's no Gustafsson because he's in concussion protocol,
right?
And they have no.
So you're saying, Drew, you're saying that they kind of said, Chibi, get back out there.
No, I'm saying that tomorrow, if and who knows what, because Chibrikov got swapped, but Iafallo moved up and Chibrikov moved down. So I don't know. We don't know what the state of Chibrikov will be for tomorrow's game. But 11-7 could be an option for the Jets tomorrow, if they don't have 12 healthy forwards, unless they airlift somebody to Anaheim.
Now the Moose do have an optional tomorrow.
Can Ville Heinola play left wing?
Now that we have the direct flights to Los Angeles, it's an option.
It's true.
But, unless they airlift somebody into Anaheim tomorrow, 11-7 is a possibility for the Winnipeg Jets when they face the Ducks tomorrow. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. For now, we have the game recap to get to.
The Play Now game recap.
12:30 in the morning, Wednesday morning. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's brought to you by our friends at Play Now. Don't bet on illegal sites. Bet with Play Now instead. Manitoba's local, legal, and secure gambling site. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. Drew Mindell, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you, talking about the Winnipeg Jets 4-3 victory over the San Jose Sharks. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, tell your friends, tell your family. The best place to be tonight, right now, and then again tomorrow night after the Jets and the Ducks game, and then again on Saturday morning, and then again on Saturday night is the Illegal Curve YouTube
But
channel.
hold on though, Drew. Is it night or is it morning? Because earlier you said morning and now you're saying tonight. So I just want to.
Ezzy, it's 12:30 in the morning. You got to cut me some slack. Normally I'm up at 12:30 right now just because I've woken up after falling asleep. I have to go take a pee. Instead, I'm still just up the entire time. So you cut me some slack here a little bit.
I will cut you some slack for
Thank
sure.
you. I'm going to get my mornings and afternoons and evenings messed up for the next couple days because of these back-to-back late ones, but that's okay. The Jets get, as we talked about, slow start to the game. They get outshot 8-2 through the first 11 minutes of the contest, very much on their heels. The Chibrikov shot block that felled him for the rest of the first period happened in that first sort of 10-minute, 11-minute mark of the first period. But the Jets get on the board first. Despite not being the better of the two teams, I would say, to start the game, the Jets do open up the scoring. It's at the 12-18 mark of the first period. It's Kyle Connor, his 18th of the year, assist to Mark Scheifele, assist to Gabe Vilardi, and it starts really with a nice stretch pass from Dylan DeMello up the boards, and then Gabe Vilardi makes a nice play against, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was against Jake Wallman.
Correct.
of the San Jose Sharks. He beats Jake Wallman, and then Scheifele comes in with the puck. He gives it over to Kyle Connor. After sort of removing Cody Ceci from the play, it's a 2-on-1, and then Kyle Connor stick handling in a phone booth to beat Alexander Georgiev to give the Jets the 1-0 lead with about 8 minutes to go in the first period, Ezzy.
Yeah, you mentioned the like when you talked about the Jake Wallman, the Gabe Vilardi play and Jake Wallman. To me, that's the key play that sets this all up, because obviously it's a beautiful move by Kyle Connor. And you also mentioned, it's a nice he identifies Dylan DeMello. That is, identifies like, to me, it almost looked like a set play. I don't know if we could call it a set play. The only people that would be able to tell us that would be Gabe Vilardi and Dylan DeMello and maybe Scheifele and Connor. But I just love how Gabe Vilardi uses his size on the wall to Jake Waldman and gets it to Scheifele, who, like you said, just outweights Cody Ceci and takes him out of the play.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Kyle Connor does the rest, right? So just a great execution all around by all four players involved on that goal.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see from your top line, from your best scoring line. You want to see them, because with all due respect to Jake Wallman and Cody Ceci, these are guys who are journeyman defensemen, for the most part. I think Wallman played a number of years in Detroit, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that deep pairing struggled a lot tonight, Drew, against the Jets' top line.
Because the Jets' top line should be able to take advantage of that deep pairing.
Yep.
That's where the Sharks are lacking still, is on the back end. Their forward group is they got some nice young talent, but their back end, you look at it, like I said, you got Ceci and Wallman, both journeymen. You got Liljegren, who was ex of Toronto. Mario Ferraro is a guy that you mentioned on Saturday's show as a potential. He's a nice player still, a little bit underrated.
Fit in nicely as a third pairing guy. I don't think he's a top, like, I think on a good team, which the Jets are, I think he's a third pairing defense. But I was just saying, like, we've talked a lot about the left side depth, right, boys? Mm-hmm. And I just thought Mario Ferraro's name's out there, as is Marcus Pettersson. But Pettersson's injured now, so
yeah. Jan Ruda, he's another veteran guy who's been bounced around, this league. And then they got the one young player they have on the back end is Mac Medulin, who they got from the New Jersey Devils, former first-round pick of the Devils, if you recall. That was in the Timo Meier trade. That's where they got him. So he's the sort of the building block on the back end. But you can see that's where San Jose still needs some work. Anyways, 1-0 for the Jets as a result of this very nice goal by the Jets' top line. The top line was a beast all game long, and that's where the first period ended, is at that 1-0 mark. Set shots were, as I mentioned, 8-2 early on. Shots end 10-9 in the first period. So you saw the Jets really begin to find their skating legs and begin to tilt the ice a little bit in the latter half of that first period. But the second period begins with the Jets again on their heels, just like they were to start the game. And this time it does cost them. Tyler Toffoli, former Winnipeg Jet player. I think most people in the chat remember that. Tyler Toffoli gets his 13th of the year. Assist to Nikolai Kovalenko. He came over in the Georgiev trade just recently with Colorado. He was sort of the sweetener for the Sharks taking on the Georgiev contract, or one of the sweeteners. Kovalenko, the son of Andrei Kovalenko, the former Stanley Cup winner with the Avs back in the day. And Celebrini also getting the assist here. And it starts, Dave, with Celebrini's speed. He just uses his speed so well to gain the zone. I'm watching sort of the you know how on NHL.com they have the goal visualizer now, and
Yeah.
it's fun watching sort of Celebrini's number as he moves with the puck. So just a ton of speed. He generates a rebound, and then the Jets sort of booted around a little bit. I don't love how they played it after that. It was a combination of Alex Iafallo and Vlad Nemesnikov and Hayden Fleury played a little bit of hot potato, and then the puck comes back out from Kovalenko to Toffoli, and Toffoli makes no mistake, tying it up at 1 goal apiece at the 152 mark.
Yeah, and when I first saw the play, I thought maybe the Hellebuck rebound wasn't ideal, right? But then I realized he actually kicked it out right to his forward.
Yeah.
But the problem was that Vlad Nemesnikov gets tied up with Nikita Chibrikov. And so then because they get their signals crossed, instead of having really an easy outlet for that puck, the puck goes into the corner, because really, like I said, he makes the initial save, and then there's 2 Jets there. There's no Sharks anywhere near there. The problem is Chibrikov and Nemesnikov, like I said, hit each other, and then Fleury takes his guy, so he's fine. The problem is, and I don't want to pick on the man who's playing in his 500th NHL game and 399th
you'll have an opportunity to do that on a goal a little bit later on in the post-game show.
But in his 399th wearing as a Jet, of course. Neil Pionk is in no man's land. He's watching behind the net. He leaves Tyler Toffoli, who, Tyler Toffoli didn't match what the Jets want to do. That was much as was clear, when they traded for him. He didn't fit, right? He didn't fit as a guy who could play with any speed, but it doesn't take away his ability.
He's still on base for 30 goals.
No, well, it doesn't.
That's why I texted you, Dave, during the game. I'm like, people can malign Toffoli all they want. The guy scores goals wherever he goes, though. Well, I agree with you. He's slower, especially now he's in the back half of his career, right? But I just wanted to say, the guy scores goals. That's what he's paid to do, right?
Well, and he scores goals from that exact spot, right in front of the net. Yeah. And so and like I said, he's still got very good hands. So he puts that shot past Connor Hellebuck. And so you like to see Neil Pionk play a little differently, because he is caught in no man's land, which is something we've seen from this decor a little bit, is that they sometimes get lost in translation and they're not where they need to be. And as a result, Tyler Toffoli has an easy shot and puts it in to tie the game 1-1.
Yeah, they tie it up at 1 goal apiece early in that first period, and then the Jets special teams gets their first opportunity to go to work. This is with Mac Medulin in the box. He's got a hooking penalty. Who does he hook? Adam Lowry. Adam Lowry was coming into the zone on a rush. Mac Medulin hooks him. The Jets power play goes to work, and you just see exceptional puck movement and player movement from the Jets to lead to this goal. I mean, it's Scheifele. It's back up to Morrissey. Morrissey goes down the wall, down to Perfetti. Perfetti down to Connor. Connor and Perfetti switch. Connor to Velarde, then Velarde down low to Perfetti, then Perfetti across to Scheifele, and Scheifele into the back of the net. It's just an absolute, it's in sync, not the band, but it's just, it's just so connected and so one step ahead of the defense. There's no pausing, there's no waiting. Everybody's in constant motion. It's so difficult to defend this, and the Sharks weren't up to snuff in trying to defend it, to be perfectly honest. And the Jets, with on Scheifele, his 17th of the year, assist to Perfetti and Velarde, make it 2-1, Ezzy.
Yeah, the word that resonates with me, Drew, that you just mentioned is motion, right? Like that to me is, it's quick puck movement for sure that has made the Jets power play successful this year, but it's also the motion. And remember when we had Coach John Goyens on and he broke down the power play, it's the fact that these guys can move in and out of the bumper slot. They can move in and out of the down low spot, right? These players really are interchangeable, and they give you very similar type of skill sets. And Perfetti obviously has filled in admirably for Nick Ehlers on the top power play unit. But yeah, it's just between Perfetti and Connor and Velarde, it's just beautiful puck movement. And I love the fact that, again, this is just a little subtle thing that I noticed, but it's a beautiful pass by Perfetti, but he easily could have just stuffed it in, right? Yeah. Gone to the net. And that's what I think shows you when scouts, every year we talk about prospects and you hear about hockey IQ and good hockey IQ. To me, that is a perfect example of Perfetti's high hockey IQ, right, Dave? Because he knows Scheifele's there, right? Like he knows, and he kind of represents a shooting threat. And, it's just a very smart power play. And, you would think, guys, that we would get sick of breaking down these power play goals. I certainly don't, because their power play is so fun to watch. Because when was the last time that we've seen the Jets power play first in the NHL at this point in the season? Like, it's been 7 or 8 years, right? I don't even know if the Jets power play ever was first that year they went to the conference finals, but it's fun to watch. These guys are they're just performing at such a high level on the power play. That's what sticks out to me.
It's fun to watch, particularly because it's not predictable. I mean,
right.
Sometimes a power play can be look, I mean, Laine had a hat trick today, I think, in Montreal. They beat up on the Sabres.
On the power play.
I mean, and that's
crazy.
And that's great to watch. And it's a beautiful thing when he's going on the power play, but it can be predictable. I mean, where they're trying to set up. This, if you're the opposition, you're like, well, I don't even know where, it's a constant motion. If you think you're going to take one thing away, the Jets are going to pivot to something else. At least tonight, this was a beautiful power play goal. This is, the kind of power play goal that's going to get taught on video for teams and young hockey players. Just constantly be in motion. Don't let the puck stand still. Don't be a puck stopper. Be a puck mover, and good things are going to happen.
Well, Drew, just quickly to your point, right? I've got the replay up here and I'm just watching it again, right? Like, you've got Scheifele in the, you've got Scheifele, Velarde in the bumper, and then you've got Connor down low, and then Perfetti and Connor switch down low. But easily, if that power play continued, you'd see Scheifele in the bumper spot, and then Velarde goes net front, right? Like, it's just, like you said, it's not like 2017-18 when it was Wheeler cross ice to Laine, again and again and again. And obviously it's still working for Laine in Montreal, but you're absolutely right when you say it's really hard to focus in on not just one player, but it's hard to focus on two players because there's just so much movement and there's so much skill there that it's just fun to watch this year. It really is.
Drew, I was just going to add in, and that was their first shot of the period.
Well, I mean, that's true. First shot, I guess if you're going to score on your first shot, then you make it count. The Jets all had a couple chances to make it 3-1, which probably would have put the game away. And then Georgiev, I thought, had his best stretch of saves in the course of the hockey game. He sort of solidified it a little bit for the San Jose Sharks. Cole Perfetti had that really nice shift where he sort of circled around and he had a strong net drive there. Scheifele had a nice opportunity on a one-timer that Georgiev made a save on. So the Jets had a couple opportunities. Timothy Liljegren, there was a loose puck right next to Georgiev that Liljegren tied up Rasmus Kupari's stick. All this in the second period after the Jets had made it 2-1. That could have easily made it 3-1. Instead, what happens? Colin Miller takes a tripping penalty on Macklin Celebrini, and then Macklin Celebrini makes the Jets pay for that penalty. He makes Colin Miller pay for it with a backhand goal, assisted Jake Wallman, assisted Tyler Toffoli. Connor Hellebuyck's not going to like this goal. I don't think he necessarily saw all of it, but it's not a hard backhand. It's maybe a well-timed backhand. But this is one that usually Connor Hellebuyck saves, but he doesn't in this case, and it made it 2-2 at the 17-11 mark of the second period, as he.
Oh. Yeah, well, I thought you were going to Dave there, but I'll take it. Dave.
Whose turn was it there? I thought it was.
You know what? I'll throw to Dave. I'm a team player.
Okay, sorry, Dave. I got.
I was like, wow, as he's getting 2 in a row. I guess.
I'll say, Dave, is that I didn't know if Celebrini did this on purpose or not. I had to watch the replay, and I think he did do this on purpose. First, it looked like Logan Stanley might have put it in his own net. But yeah, you take this one, Dave.
Well, no, I mean, to me, I don't know what Logan Stanley's doing on this play. And I know some Jets fans at least are going to be like, well, we understand that sentiment, but he's got to take Toffoli. He's got to take him more aggressively. And look, you want to talk about old man strength. Tyler Toffoli has that, and he's a veteran. He knows how to do it. But to me, Logan Stanley has Toffoli's not moving fast, and then he intentionally puts himself behind Toffoli as they're going around the net, which puts himself in a bad position because Toffoli has body position on him and can get the puck. Kick the puck out to the point like he wanted to. So now Stanley doesn't have the puck anymore. So he tries to get to the front of the net. Well, in his path to get to the front of the net, he knocks Dylan DeMello out of stride. So DeMello's maybe a fraction of a second slow to get to Celebrini. I think Celebrini intentionally did that. Mm-hmm. And Then if you're Logan Stanley, why are you allowing the front of the net to be completely, we've talked about this, like you cannot leave the front of your net unprotected. There's no threat anywhere else right now. You can take a look to see if anybody is pinching. Nobody's pinching. You have to clear the front of the net. That's your responsibility as the D-man. You've got Dylan DeMello taking Celebrini. If you're Stanley, you've got to clear the front of the net. You can't allow, Connor Hellebuck has no view of that shot in my mind, Drew. So I think Celebrini, credit to his high hockey IQ, he sees the screen. He figures, why I don't have to make a hard shot. I just have to get it on net, and the screen creates the opportunity. And with Stanley just in no man's land, where he put himself for the record, the Sharks tie the game.
They do 2-2, and that's where it ended after 40 minutes between the Sharks and the Winnipeg Jets. The Sharks take a lead, 3-2, 4:44 mark of the third period. Ironically, the Jets had actually been playing decent at this point in time in this period, earlier in this period than they had been in the first two periods. They have some good pressure deep in the San Jose zone, and they get caught up there. And Neil Pionk has to have more puck awareness than this. I mean, it doesn't appear to be a dangerous play. The Jets have the puck 200 feet away from their own net, and then you see that Mikael Granlund does a nice job in sort of pinching off Neil Pionk against the boards, leading to 2-on-1 for the San Jose Sharks. But Pionk, I think, needs to have better awareness of where the threats are coming from in this case. Kyle Connor, no forward, comes back to help Neil Pionk here. Connor sort of gets caught up a little bit in the wash. And, I think he's trying to get back, but there's a lot of sticks and skates and bodies that are in his way, and it's a 2-on-1. And it's Fabian Zetterlund getting his 11th of the year assist to Jake Wallman. The only defender back for the Winnipeg Jets is Hayden Fleury at this point. It's a nice pass from Wallman, and Zetterlund sort of looks past, and then he freezes Connor Hellebuck and beats him with a real nice shot. Zetterlund, another one of those nice young forwards for the Sharks, and he gives them a 3-2 lead with just over 15 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, another former New Jersey Devil, right? There's a lot of them on the San Jose Sharks. I think, what you said there, Drew, that really stands out to me on this goal is obviously, okay, so it's the Scheifele line, right? They're out there, and they have good pressure. So Neil Pionk is pinching in. Okay, fine. The problem is... But
there's not a pinch opportunity there. I don't know what he's pinching at.
Well, he was up in the play. Like he was already
too far up.
He was up in the play. And like you said, Drew, to me, it's like, okay, fine. Obviously, the Jets have the go-ahead, especially the more offensive-minded defensemen. You even see Dylan DeMello do it sometimes, but you definitely see Josh Morrissey do it. The problem with Josh Morrissey is he, at this point in his career, he's just a master at doing it. He knows when to do it. He knows how to get himself back. Not saying that Pionk doesn't, but the problem is, Connor, if you want to call him the F3, he's kind of high at the blue line. But what he does is he kind of vacates that position. So he's in theory, and the other thing too,
he goes after Wallman. He goes after Wallman before Wallman makes the pass to Zetterlund, and Granlund pinches out Pionk. So there's nobody back to play with Fleury there. And
Scheifele's circling around behind the net. So you've got Scheifele and Velarde who are down low. And Connor then like you said, Connor gets bumped out of position, but he's also kind of like, to me, Connor has to anticipate what's happening a little better. Like he has to see that Neil Pionk is deep, like fairly deep. And yeah, there's a little bit of a play there, but like, it's just, there had to be better coverage for Pionk. That just simply put, and that's why it was a 2-on-1. That's why there was a goal scored there, because Kyle Connor didn't cover for Neil Pionk, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, but I would say it's twofold. That yes, there needs to be better communication and better awareness there, Dave. Maybe Connor needs to be a little bit more aware of where Pionk is in that instance. But I also think that Pionk in that needs to have more awareness that there's not really a need or an opportunity there for him to be so aggressive. That line, the Scheifele, Velarde, Connor line, has been able to win their minutes dramatically in the course of this game without needing a pinching defenseman. I just didn't see any good coming out of Pionk being that aggressive at that opportunity. And then compounding that is that you have Connor and Connor maybe misreading the play as well a little bit, and him also being too aggressive. So
and I just want to say one thing, Dave, before you get in here. Sure. That's the Kyle Connor that giveth and taketh away, right? Like Connor scores 2 goals, almost scores a hat trick tonight. So obviously, we're not going to crap on Connor too much because he was arguably the Jets' best forward. But in that particular play, like Drew said, it wasn't just 1 or 2 players. It was the Pionk probably an ill-advised staying deep a little bit too long. Connor going for a little bit of a skate, vacating his position. And then, Velarde was deep. Anyways, it was a bad goal. Luckily, the Jets were able to tie it up, get the win, but it looked like that could have been a killer early in the third.
Yeah, very much so.
Well, and I'll just add, no, I was just going to add because to me, the thing that I don't have a problem with the D pinching because the D have pinched and they play a little aggressive. And it's early in the third period. It was 15 minutes to go in the third. So it wasn't like It was 10 minutes to go or 5 minutes to go. And like, as he's right, the reality is like the Jets are supposed to cover. I mean, that's the whole point of this system is that if you see a guy, it's not like you're saying, oh, well, Neil Pionk is pinched, so I can also pinch. I mean, the reality is that that you have to play back. You have to cover for that pinching defenseman because there is nobody there. So like I said, it's presence of mind. It's a little ill-advised, you can say. I agree with Doug's comment. I thought Pionk got kind of interfered with a little bit as he's trying to get back into the play.
Brandon did a good job sort of rubbing him out a little bit. I would agree with that. But to me, it's not a traditional pinch because it's not like there's a loose puck that he's aggressively coming out. I think he's just too aggressive in reading the play. If it had been a pinch, I have time for that one. I just thought that he was
more so aggressive. He's jumping up into the play and and staying too deep in the zone, right, Drew?
That to me is that's what I was going to say. So if I don't have a problem with the pinch, to me it's the standing and watching after the fact that where you don't have control of the puck, where he needs to have the presence of mind to get back and reassume his position. Because the problem is if it's a 50-50 battle or whatever it's going to be, there's a chance it's coming back the other way, and you don't want to be caught like he was in no man's land. So that is where I would agree with you, Drew. Like that's where I don't have a problem with the pinch per se. It's the presence of mind after the fact to not stand deep to, almost the midpoint of the zone. He needed to get back a little bit quicker.
Right.
So,
and I agree with what Jack says on the screen, communication breakdown. And
is that our Jack Tadman, by the way, or is that a different Jack?
I'm sure it's a different Jack. I promise you.
Jack's probably in bed. It's 1:45 in Toronto, right?
Yeah, it's 10 minutes to 2 in the morning. I promise you that he's probably not awake. But that's okay. 3-2 at this point in time for the San Jose.
It's the 1 in the morning, Drew, not 2.
No, 10-2 where Jack is. He's in
where Jack is. I think meant for us. I was like, what is going on? Did they already get rid of daylight savings time? What's going on here, Drew?
Dave, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. So 3-2 at this point for the San Jose Sharks, and the Jets are going to have to play catch up for the first time in tonight's game. But fortunately, when you have the best power play in the NHL, it makes it a little bit easier to do so. Alex Wenberg trips Mason Appleton. He goes to the penalty box. I mean, to the San Jose Sharks' credit, they were disciplined in tonight's game. They only took 2 penalties. It just so happens that both of those penalties ended up behind Alexander Georgiev. And the Sharks, by the way, had a pretty decent penalty kill coming into this game. I think it was 10th or 11th in the NHL. So this was a little bit uncharacteristic, their lack of success there. But in any event, with Wenberg in the box, Kyle Connor just puts on an absolute display of goal-scoring prowess. It ties the game at 3 goals apiece. And most importantly, it's the following.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Kyle Connor's goal is our Seagram shot of the game. Whatever you might be drinking, we do recommend all of the great Seagram's products, including Seagram's 83, Manitoba's favorite Canadian whiskey. Please drink responsibly, folks. Don't get behind the wheel of the car. I saw a news bulletin or whatever from the Winnipeg Police Service saying that they pulled over something like 30 drivers for driving while under the influence in the over the course of the last week. Now, 1 is obviously too many, but 30 is absolutely absurd. So be more responsible. I know all of you in the chat and all of you listening and all of you watching, none of those, you're all good, responsible people. But in this day and age with Uber and Lyft and taxis and a friend and everybody else being so readily available to help you out when you've had too much to drink, do not get behind the wheel of the car. 3-all. Kyle Connor on this goal. It's just it's a laser of a shot. And what I like about this goal is that you watch Georgiev in the course of this one, Dave, and he just looks like he's flailing. This is a goalie who looks like he knows that the shot is going to be too good, is going to be better than the skill that he has available to him to try and stop the puck. And so you watch Georgiev's style in attempting to make this save, and he's just absolutely just like hoping and praying, and unfortunately his prayers were not answered as Kyle Connor ties it up at 3 goals apiece. This goal coming at the 11:56 mark, assists to Gabe Vilardi, and of course Mark Scheifele, as that line was incredible both at 5-on-5 and on the power play tonight.
Well, and as you mentioned, Drew, their PK came into this game at 11th. So, I mean, it's not like you're playing the 30-second penalty kill, right, Ezzy? And that's a testament to the Jets' power play that you were able to score twice when you needed to and give yourself and your team a boost. But to me, this is what sums up this power play was movement. It was excellent. And I just thought everything was controlled. And everything was direct. Everything was with purpose. There wasn't hope plays. It was all intentional. And I thought they were crisp. And I'm going to throw a few more adjectives in there that I can get in there right now, guys. But I really liked all the movement on this. And, as he mentioned this earlier, Gabriel Vilardi's pass is an excellent pass to Kyle Connor through traffic, gets it over to him. And I think I used the word lethal for Kyle Connor's shot because I probably said it, 261 other times, because that was his 262nd goal in a Jets jersey. Although I did like how they said on the broadcast that it was, a historic goal because he moved past Blake Wheeler. I'm like, move past Blake Wheeler. He did that ages ago, but that was a Jets Thrashers goal for record keeping purposes, not just a Jets 2.0 goal. Still has a ways to go before he catches Dale Hawerchuk, 379 in a Jets jersey. Mark Scheifele will be the only one who will probably do that. At least in the near future. But this is just a goal scorer's goal on the power play. How many times have we seen Kyle Connor shoot that puck? I mean, Georgiev is there. And look, Perfetti is in the position. Scheifele's in a position. That's the whole point about having, assets and options, right? Is that the goaltender has to, you talk about getting in the goalie's head, Drew. He's got to be thinking, okay, I got Scheifele for a backdoor tap in, Cole Perfetti here for a redirection in front. And of course, I've got to deal with 81, who's got one of the best shots in the NHL. So sure enough, Kyle Connor beats him. It's his 19th goal of the season, and the Jets have made it a 3-all game.
What I just want to point out quickly on this one, and it wasn't really talked about in the broadcast, but the Jets got a lucky break here because right before this goal and before there was a face-off, and then there was before that face-off happened, there was that goal mouth scramble that I don't think any of us thought the puck went in the net. I don't think it crossed our minds, but yet the officials took that time, and it was probably a good minute, I would say, to review what looked to me like a play that didn't need to be reviewed, which certainly helps the Jets' first power play unit because they've already been on the ice. They've been on the power play for, about a minute 10, maybe a minute 15. So they get a sort of a break without having to call a timeout and keep their first power play unit up there. The first power play unit does get a break here because of this sort of odd video review, and then they capitalize shortly thereafter. I'm pretty sure we never even saw the second.
I was just going to say, Drew, what made it more odd is because listening to Dan Robertson and Kevin Sawyer, they didn't really, and they didn't go to any video replay.
Right.
So as the viewer, you're watching it going, not only do we not know what they're reviewing, we have nothing to reference. Right. Mm-hmm. So, but you're right. It's a good point by you, Drew, that they got, a minute and a half, whatever it was, to stay out there, get a little bit more energy. And, Dave nailed it. I mean, it's the motion creates all of the options. Right. And you could see on the replay too, not on the replay on NHL.com, but the replay they were showing on TSN that Kyle Connor's head's up. That's what you love to see, right? Like he's always got his head up, and you're thinking like, yeah, Scheifele's there, like Dave said, for the tap in, and he just absolutely blasted home. So just incredible. And like you said, Dave, I mean, yeah, sure, we've talked about Connor's shot and release so many times, but I mean, you really never get tired of talking about it when he's shooting the puck like that. And it was the clear choice for the Seagram shot of the game tonight.
It was a clear choice. It was an easy decision. The only question was going to be, was I going to forget to do it altogether? But nah, I'm a professional. Even at 1 a.m, I remembered it. The Jets had opportunities to make it 4-3 before they made it 4-3. Kyle Connor, after that Jake Wallman giveaway, he had a point-blank chance. And the Jets penalty kill, which we touched on earlier in the program, was huge. Nino Niederreiter gets called for that check to the head of Celebrini, and that could have certainly cost the Winnipeg Jets. Instead, they're able to kill off that penalty, and then they get the game-winning goal with 1:13 to go. It's Adam Lowry, his 9th of the year, assist to Dylan DeMello and Mason Appleton. 1:13 to go, and this is when the Jets get this all-important goal. Again, you got good puck movement. You know, Hayden Fleury takes a shot. Appleton picks up the rebound, walks the line, feeds it over to DeMello, and then Adam Lowry just with the great tip. It's Ferraro who's battling with Adam Lowry. He's unable to pick up to prevent the tip from happening. He's unable to control the stick of Lowry. I know it's a difficult shot, but your goalie needs to make this save in that instance. Yeah. He just has to. You need one save, you know, in the key moment that's going to send this game into overtime, and Georgiev isn't able to do it. Great for Lowry, great for DeMello, great for Appleton, great for Hayden Fleury in controlling that shift. But if you're the San Jose Sharks, you absolutely need a save in that moment right there.
Yeah, no, you're right, Drew. And especially for a guy like Georgiev, who, let's be honest, Georgiev for Blackwood, Mackenzie Blackwood, that trade is kind of similar to the trade that we saw, Scott Wedgwood for Eustace Ananen, right? Yeah. You're hoping that a change of scenery helps these guys, right? Like, and obviously Kovalenko was the other player thrown in. And I thought that was a pretty astute move by Mike Grier, to be honest with you.
They also got a second round pick out of it.
Yeah, like
it was a good trade look, for San Jose's perspective.
Exactly. San Jose taking advantage of Colorado, who desperately needs somebody to take over the net, right? Like they need somebody to say, like, I'm going to be the number one goalie here. And they're hoping that it's obviously Mackenzie Blackwood, right? But I agree with you. He needs to make the save, but I mean, we saw that so much in the Jets Avalanche first round series last year, right? Those high tips. Mm-hmm. And Mario Ferraro, we talked about him earlier. You know, obviously Lowry's bigger than him. Lowry's bigger than most players. He's so hard to control. Like, to me, that's just a well-placed point shot and just a nice tip. But yeah, like, you know, in that situation, Georgiev has to find a way to make that save and push it to overtime. It's an absolute killer goal, but the captain comes through big again. The Jets get the 2 points. And like we kind of said, you know, throughout this post-game show tonight, the Jets weren't excellent, but they were good enough to win.
They were good enough to win, and they're going to be back at it tomorrow night, or I guess later tonight. Not even tomorrow night. They'll be back at it later tonight as they look to sweep the road trip in front of the Mums. They'll play the Anaheim Ducks a little bit later on. We'll go to break. When we come back, we'll probably come back with the wrap of this show. If there's any interesting post-game comments, we'll bring them to you. A quick preview of tomorrow night. It's 1 a.m. after all. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. It's brought to you by our friends at Play Now. Don't go anywhere. Much more to come.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling sites instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in 2 unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date night to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg with you on a Wednesday morning as we wrap up the Jets' 4-3 victory. Come from behind victory over the San Jose Sharks. Jets next in action tonight. They'll be in Anaheim. So that's a 9 o'clock Central Time.
That's really depressing for us.
Which means...
Well, as if it'll make you feel any better, don't worry. We're not on till the 19th, not the 18th.
No, we'll be on the 18th because it's a 9 o'clock puck drop. So,
Drew, overtime and shootout.
Yeah, overtime and shootout. That's a possibility. It's likely going to be the post-game show in about 22 hours time. Maybe 22 and a half hours time is when we'll be back again for the Illegal Curve post-game show after the Jets and the Anaheim Ducks.
As Dave M would say, dear mama.
Yeah, dear mama indeed. But it's okay. We can handle it. I think it's the only West Coast back-to-back this year, as far as I know. But
back-to-back, they do play another late. Because I was gonna set the tweet and say it was the latest game of the year, but it's not. There's an LA game in early April that's a 9:30 start. Okay, April 3rd, if I recall correctly.
Well, in April, that'll give us about 4 or 5 months to recover from this one. So hopefully we'll be back able to do it by then. Interesting note from our buddy Connor Hrabchuk. Connor Scheifele-Velarde, they had 24 shot attempts and 12 shots on goal tonight. That is season highs for that line this night. We talked about.
Not surprising, right? They had a great game tonight. They were flying.
They were absolutely terrific. So no,
almost like something you'd read in tomorrow's illegalcurve.com.
There you go.
In his next day thoughts. Although does that count as a next day thought, Ezzy, if you had the thought the day of the game?
It does. Yeah.
It's a today thought. I mean, who knows when, with these late
today is tomorrow. Yesterday is the day after.
Up is down, down is up, black is white, white is black. It doesn't matter. Kudos to Connor Hellebuyck. He set a new NHL record today. I'm surprised, Dave, that you weren't on this.
I saw it. I was waiting for my chance to shine, but
go ahead.
If you got it queued up, I know that he was the fastest U.S. born goaltender.
So the
20 wins,
the fewest games,
26.
Yeah, the fewest games for a U.S. born goaltender to get to 20 wins in a season.
Hold on, let me guess who the goalie was that he beat the record.
Okay. You're never gonna guess. He was born He was born in the same year Drew was, as he was like 1930.
I was gonna say Mike Richter.
No, it was like Frank
Brimsack.
Brimsack, yeah.
Back in 38-39. I love when they take these stats from 38-39 as if they have any relevance to today's NHL. But that's
Drew's best friend in high school, Frankie Brimsack.
Me and old Frankie, we went to some sock hops together, and we did the Lindy hop, and we did all sorts of
Sadie Hawkins social.
Oh, the Sadie Hawkins dances.
Drew and him regaled each other with tales from WW1.
Yeah, no, Dave. What are you talking about? It was the Boer War is what we fought in the Boer War, right around 1912, I think, something around
That was
there.
good. That was good.
All righty, that's it. It's
Hold on. Whoa.
Kevin He. Are you going to talk about Kevin He?
We got to talk about Kevin He. Historic history was made. Come on,
Okay,
Drew. He
talk
is
about
him.
it quickly then.
Well, it's not going to be very quick. I mean, it's not. There's not a lot to talk about.
Talk about He.
Talk about He. I mean, I just think, look, the 2024 fourth rounder, as he gets his first ELC with the Winnipeg Jets, or his only ELC with the Winnipeg Jets, but it's a historic day. He's the first Chinese-born player to sign an NHL deal. Of course, he's Canadian. He was raised in Canada.
Yeah.
So he's the captain.
But still, it's Chinese heritage. That's a big deal. Yeah,
absolutely. There's no question about it. Like, it's like Danny Zhilkin, who's also a Jets prospect, who was born in Russia. Of course, very good friends with Nikita Chibrikov, but grew up in Canada. So Kevin He,
same thing.
Yeah, except in the States. But Kevin He is the captain, of course, of the Niagara Ice Dogs. He was named that this year, having a great season in the OHL, 4th in goals, 14th in scoring. And if you haven't seen him play, very tenacious player. Go check out illegalcurve.com. We've got a complete update, a lot of his goals that he scored throughout this year in the OHL clipped, so you can check out, and his assists, so you can see what kind of player he is.
There you go. Dave M has got it all loaded up, locked and loaded, as he always does.
And of course, while you're there, check out the Moose Report.
Yeah.
Talk to Brad Lambert, talk to Chaz Lucius. Lots of things happening.
I'm not going to hit it, Drew. I'm not going to hit it.
No, it's not going to hit it.
Out of respect to you, I'm not going to hit
late.
it.
Yeah, you can hit it tomorrow. It's too late tonight to hit it. Yes, check it all out, illegalcurve.com. That's it for us.
Oh, sorry, Drew, one thing. I will tell the folks, though, because people are concerned, Jets 2022 second rounder, Elias Salamonson, I was told today by Mark Morrison he will be back right after Christmas. So good news with him, because that could have been a really serious injury and he could have been gone. And he's been one of the best defender that the Moose have had this season. So, that's damning with faint praise based on how they've played so far. But he has been very good. And so that's good news for them as well.
Yes, very good news that he will be back sooner rather than later in the Moose lineup. That's it for us. Thanks to all of you, so many of you, staying up late with us. We appreciate it. We're going to do it all again tomorrow, so hopefully you can sleep in a little bit in the morning and then get back at it right around 11:40 p.m. Today. As it's not tomorrow, but today, 11:40 p.m. We'll be back at it after the Jets and the Anaheim Ducks. We want you to support all the businesses that help support Illegal Curve Hockey. Our friends at Play Now, they're the title sponsor. Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club. Graham K is in at Rumors all week long. You can check him out, rumorscomedyclub.com. Holt Dental, City Place, Boston Pizza, and of course Seagram's support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe, tell your friends, do all the things we ask you to do. I'm going to do it the short version tonight because it's so late. Thanks for all of you for joining us. Jets win 4-3. For Dave Manouk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Until later on tonight, we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.